Welcome, fellow curious denizen. This is Nirmal
In New York,
with your co-hosts Nirmal Singh
and Raymond Mohammed, and various guests.
We will be taking you on a journey to restaurants, shops, museums, historic buildings, and many other simply fascinating places in New York City, and quite possibly beyond. We will also have other little highlights and tidbits such as recipes, tips, and much more. You might even get to hear me sing from time to time, so stay tuned.
So, come true. Yeah, by day. Boy, know what I'm saying.
Welcome, everyone. This is your friendly local tour guide, Nirmal in New York, who occasionally ventures elsewhere. Today we will discuss my latest trip to Mum, which is notable because she was moved to a new area near Philadelphia called Plymouth Meeting in February of 2020. She was back on a ventilator and had hit a bit of rough patch again health-wise. She spent her 2019 starting out psychotic, spiraling to very near death and requiring a ventilator, after I refused to give up on her. My friend Ray wanted to get away from New York for a few days, and was willing to drive, so we met up early in the morning and made our way to PA. It began to rain as we drove, and he got lost in New Jersey for a bit, going in circles. We corrected ourselves and eventually made it to Mom's new nursing facility. It was pouring when we got to Aristocare, a nursing home. Because of the pandemic, I was not allowed to visit her inside the building. I had to come to her window and visit her from outside through the glass. I was not going to do this in the rain. So we decided to go to the King of Prussia Mall and walk around. I also had to use the bathroom badly at this point. The mall is huge. It's a typical mall, but had some interesting stores. I got some chairs at Cinnabon. We checked out a vape place in Spencer's. We got lunch in the food court and wandered about while Ray took some very creepy unguarded photos for an assignment. He had to take pictures of people without them knowing, and it was very cringy. He took many pictures of women and children, often scantily clad women. He took less pictures of men, despite my trying to sway him otherwise. We did have a few arguments during the trip, especially about this. We then headed back to the area near the nursing home. We stopped at the Plymouth Meeting Mall, which is much smaller than King of Prussia. This mall was nearly dead compared to the King of Prussia, and Ray stopped in the Nike store. I sat and read up on the history behind the mall itself. The mall opened in 1966. A devastating fire started by accident in 1970. You can read about the fire from morethanthecurve.com, the Freedom Valley Chronicles. I have put the link in the description for you. We then went for food. We went to a little pizza place called Tony's up Germantown Pike. We also went to Shiver Grocery and had a look around. We then made our way up to Big Lots and Dollar Tree for a few things. We found some interesting snacks at Big Lot. Ray wasn't really too keen to walk around the store at first, but as he began to wander the aisles, he was filled with curiosity and began to wholeheartedly enjoy himself. The DoubleTree we stayed at was beautiful. There was apparently some get-together for Jewish folks while we were there, and indeed most guests who we encountered were Orthodox Jewish. We saw them in the lobby at various times throughout our stay. The room was like a mini apartment. It had 2 separate rooms. We slept in separate beds and Ray had privacy to do whatever he wished in one room while I was in the other. I had some lovely baths and refreshed my hair color. We had barbecued brisket and fixings at the Mission Barbecue, near the hotel one evening, during our stay. It was delicious. I was able to see Mum through the window a couple times when it was sunny. The first time, I was surprised by a bug that at first, I thought was a spider. It hopped onto the air conditioner cover. Upon closer inspection, it wasn't a spider at all. I had no idea what it was, and would later discover that it was an adolescent lanternfly. Mum smiled at me through the window, although she seemed a bit perplexed as to why I wasn't actually in the room with her. She looked calm. She wasn't pulling at her trach. She wasn't flipping out. She does tend to fall asleep a lot, but I will say that this facility seems to do better with handling both her mental state and her infections. She hasn't had pneumonia as much here. We drove around a good bit and took pictures of some local buildings. This was nice because there were a string of lovely historic structures on the other end of the pike. This half of the journey was less eventful. I kind of felt bad that I had to leave her, but life had to carry on back in New York. So, after a few days, we were back on our way, so we thought. And with that, another trip is in the bag. See you next time. Always remember you're welcome to join us at www.patreon.com/secondinnermolsing and www.dailymotion.com/secondinnermolsing, and of course, on YouTube. Special thanks to Kevin Walsh of Forgotten New York, forgotten-now.com, and Dan Bell on his Film It. And this is Dan Bell YouTube channels for inspiring this work. And Bell YouTube